Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery, emotional state so as infectious as diseases. You may feel you're helping the drowning man, but you're only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. These types of relationships will always exist. Naturally, we feel drawn to help those close to us, whether this be a friend, spouse, or family member. While it's clearly important to be there for those you care and love, it's those who feign having your self-interest in mind that you must be wary of. These are the ones who appear to play the innocent victim while placating on your emotions for aid. In the process, they make their misfortune and misery your own by becoming dependent on you, forming a parasitic relationship. Transgression of the law. In the 1840s, there was a famous dancer by the name of Lola Montez. Lola's life can be summed up as one giant catastrophe after another. Everybody she touched ended up either dead, broke, or ostracized from their community. She decided to conquer King Ludwig of Bavaria, which worked as planned. Ludwig couldn't resist Lola. His love and affection for her grew day by day as he showered her with lavish gifts and land. The king's entourage tried to wake him up from the dangers of the affair, but those who criticized Lola were promptly fired. Lola, drunk on power, began using any excuse to punish citizens for any small quarrel she caused. Lola had garnered an infectious image that poisoned Ludwig's. The citizens of Bavaria began to question and even turn on him. Regardless, Ludwig made Lola his countess. Tensions rose further within the city, and as a result riots broke out throughout the realm. A once peaceful land was virtually in the grip of a civil war. By February 1848, Ludwig was finally unable to withstand the pressure. With great disappointment, he ordered Lola to leave Bavaria immediately. For the next 5 weeks, the Bavarians' wrath was turned against their formerly beloved king. 1 month later, he was forced to abdicate. The next man she encountered was a promising young English officer named George Stratford Held. He fell under a spell and they got married. Shortly after, the English officer ended up losing his position in the army. Ostracized from English society, he moved to Portugal, where he lived in poverty. After a few months, his short life ended in a boating accident. Lola then moved to California, where she met and married a man named Pat Hull. The relationship didn't last long, and she left Hull for another man. He took to drink and fell into a deep depression that lasted until he died 4 years later. Interpretation. Each man was seduced and sucked into this whirlwind of emotion she conjured. They would find themselves drawn into her problems, but their emotional attachment to her would make them want to help her. The infecting character type is not restricted to women. It has nothing to do with gender. You could spend a lifetime studying the pathology of infecting characters, but don't waste your time. Just learn the lesson. When you suspect you're in the presence of an infector, don't argue, don't try and help. Don't pass the person on to your friends or you'll become enmeshed. Flee the infector's presence or suffer the consequences. Those misfortunate among us who have been brought down by circumstances beyond their control deserves all the help and sympathy we can give them. But there are others who are not born to misfortune or unhappiness, but who draw it upon themselves by their destructive actions and habits. The key is distinguishing the difference between the two. Whether you're interacting with someone new or starting a new relationship, it would be wise to thoroughly understand the individual's character and be aware if this person will uplift you or slowly infect and destroy you. Humans are extremely susceptible to the moods, emotions, and even the ways of thinking of those whom they spend their time with. The incurably unhappy and unstable have a particularly strong infecting power because their characters and emotions are so intense. They often present themselves as victims, making it difficult at first to see their miseries as self-inflicted. Before you realize the real nature of their problems, you have been infected by them. How to recognize an infector? They draw misfortune upon themselves. They have a turbulent past. They have a long line of broken relationships. They have an unstable career. They have a forceful character that sweeps you up and makes you lose reason. They have a desire to destroy and unsettle and is chronically dissatisfied. Look at the effect they have on the world around them. What to do when you meet an infector? Don't argue with them or give them advice. This is part of how they trap you. Don't try and help them, no matter what they say. Don't pass the person on to your friends or you'll become enmeshed. Learn to fear the power of infection. The risk of associating with infectors is that you will waste valuable time and energy trying to free yourself. Through a kind of guilt of association, you will also suffer in the eyes of others. On the other side of the spectrum of infectors are those people who attract happiness through their good cheer, natural buoyancy and intelligence. They are a source of pleasure, and you must associate with them to share in the prosperity they draw upon themselves. All positive qualities can infect us. 5 ways to affect positive change through association. If you are miserable by nature, associate with the generous and they will infect you, opening up everything that is tight and restricted in you. If you are gloomy, gravitate to the cheerful. If you are prone to isolation, force yourself to befriend the gregarious. Never associate with those who share your defects. They will reinforce everything that holds you back. Only create associations with positive affinities. Reversal. This law has no reversal. There is nothing to be gained by associating with those who infect you with their misery. There is only power and good fortune to be obtained by associating with the fortunate. Ignore this law at your own peril.